Mr. Case.
Secretary, first of all, commendation on kicking off your tenure with a listening tour. I think that's great that you get out of Washington and see what's happening out in the field, both here and internationally. On the international front, I've asked many of your colleagues that have come in here this year about the extent to which our military is now required to carry a heavier load in our relationships with other countries around the world, friends and allies, but not just friends and allies, but potential friends and allies, and the consequences really of withdrawing from some of our other instruments of national outreach, for example, USAID. And as that has happened, we obviously have some pretty nervous, and the combination of other things, tariffs or whatever, we have some pretty nervous friends and allies out there, and our mill-to-mill relationships have really carried the day in past comparable situations. I guess what I'd like to hear you talk about is, what are the opportunities from your perspective in your responsibility to expand those mill-to-mill relationships? So I'm thinking about, for example, more joint training exercises, more just people out there on the road, as you've done, meeting a little bit more with their colleagues around the world. Is that a conscious part of your planning, your policy?
Thank you for the question, Congressman. Yes, I mean, in Korea, I met with the Minister of Defense and the acting president at the time. And in Japan, I met with their equivalent of the Joint Chiefs head and their Minister of Defense as well. I think we are doing a number of joint exercises, and I'll let Admiral Kilby talk about them because I think they're pretty impressive, what we've been doing in the Indo-Pacific. But I think, look, my message to the allies is the same as the President said, which is, we're your ally, but it's time for you to pay your fair share. And I think that is the basic message. And what I've seen to some extent is, in some cases, we are definitely seeing that, and in some we're seeing the reluctance in the political aspects of it. From the military side, they want to spend it. They know they need it. They know they need to have the same capability. And I think, candidly, we need to attack even the manufacturing aspect of this better. I think we need to be speaking more about how do we both create our forces to make sure that if we got into a major conflict, that we can maybe depend on them to help manufacture some things as well. So I think that's a critical component. I've met with the head of the Spanish Navy, the head of the Italian Navy, and recently one of the ministers of defense from the UK came in.
Thank you for that. And I think that I guess my only response to you is I think we can both have higher expectations of our allies and partners and maintain a much stronger military relationship as we all get through a little bit of change and dislocation in those relationships. I don't think it's an either or. If I could just shift on you, Admiral, you probably have something to say on this, but I do want to shift quickly. Admiral Franchetti, of course, came up with her navigation plan in 2024, refined in Project 33 in terms of a time frame. President Trump came out with his Restoring America's Maritime Dominance in April, just a month ago. And I'm trying to figure out how that all fits together in terms of what we have to do in terms of funding you. Has anything fundamentally changed in the goals, or are there just massive changes that you're going to go through where we've got to go, oh, wait a minute now, we got to go in a different direction, at least consider it, or are these all pretty much aligned going into the future?
My opinion is they're aligned. Now, Admiral Franchetti's focus was 2027, as is mine. So the goals we were pursuing are goals to get after a force that's as ready as possible by January 1st, 2027. The first goal is ready platforms. That's where the 80% combat surge ready comes from, where 80% of my aircraft, ships, and submarines that are not in depot level available are available to the fleet commander if needed. We're still going to follow the process that General Smith talked about to get them fully certified. But if they need to get called over early, I want to know that those ships are armed and manned and ready to go for the call. So those are good targets, and we're still moving out on them.
Okay, so I mean, when we look at matching up what has been done in the last year against the budget requests, we'll see a continuity. I suppose that's what, I just don't want to get surprised at anything coming out like, oh, wow, we're not doing that anymore.
I do not think you'll be surprised.
Okay, thank you.